Thank you. The public session of this board meeting is being live streamed on YouTube at ABOR News. The link is available on the board's website under ABOR Live. Today, we are going to be discussing a number of legislative items that impact the Board of Regents and the universities. Paige Gonzalez and John Arnold and University Government Affairs representatives will lead us in this conversation. So I cede the floor to Paige.
Thank you, Chair Manson. Thank you, Regents, University Presidents. I appreciate your time today, and I know it is limited. In the interest of time, I will provide a more thorough legislative update to you the next time I see you. So one reason for gathering today is to discuss 3 bills for possible positions and one other bill that will be discussed at the end just for situational awareness. At this point in the legislative process, March 25th, which is a week from Friday, is the last time a bill can be heard in the committee of the opposite chamber. And a lot can happen in that time, as you know. Also knowing that legislation can be resurrected in the form of a striker and appropriations. And also that there's budget votes, negotiating tools. So we thought it was best to present these 3 bills to you with all of that in mind and ask for your position. The first bill is House Bill 2278. This bill requires the State Board of Education to establish alternative high school math graduation requirements, lowering math standards from 4 to 3 courses and eliminating Algebra 2 as a required course. This bill creates distance between high school graduation requirements and admissions to our universities. The bill as written means fewer high school graduates would qualify for university admission, causing students to choose a path that doesn't include a university education as early as 9th or 10th grade. Further, at your last full board meeting, ABOR approved what NAU had requested, which was a pilot program to align with current high school graduation requirements in order to monitor whether this alignment would increase access and attainment. In summary, by eliminating this requirement, the legislation results in students graduating with a minimum of 2 credits short and undermines the pilot program that you all had approved in order to analyze and address the issues of access and attainment at our universities. We are recommending a position of oppose. And Chair Manson, I'm happy to answer questions, but I know that Dr. Cruz Rivera is available and online if he feels like he needs to speak to this issue at all.
Thank you, Paige. President Cruz Rivera, if you have comments, we'd like to hear those, and then I would move on to board questions or comments.
Thank you, Chair Manson. The data suggests that the most likely indicator of a student being able to complete a 4-year degree is having Algebra 2. They're actually twice as likely to have a bachelor's degree if they have Algebra 2 than if they do not. And of course, the best predictor of success in college is whether or not, or what the level is of the math requirements that the students has accumulated. I think that it's very important that our students have a choice about whether or not to go to college, and we cannot make that choice for them, which watering down the curriculum in the K-12 system would certainly do. So we at NAU are very supportive of not taking support of this legislation as it stands.
Thank you. Comments or questions from board members? Regent Penley?
Oh, thank you very much, Chair Manson. I just want to register that I think we should oppose this particular legislation. Earlier, I was persuaded that we should wait and see whether it made progress or not. But fundamentally, I think Dr. Cruz Rivera has stated it very clearly. Algebra 2 is highly associated with graduation from college. Furthermore, we understand that both Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 are very much about the cognitive capacity of the individual and enlarging the capacity of the individual to think critically about issues, especially mathematics. Finally, we have endorsed and have supported the New Economy Initiative now for multiple years. That economy is really about an economy that is digitally driven, highly technical, and highly demanding of college graduates with sophisticated skills. Therefore, I recommend that we oppose this legislation vigorously. Thank you.
Comments from other board members? Okay, seeing none. Paige, can you continue on?
Certainly, thank you. So the next bill, Chair Manson and Regents, is House Bill 2473. This bill prohibits the state from entering into contracts that may, through investment, discriminate against firearm entities. And it also prohibits public entities from adopting procurement policies or investment policies that have the effect of inducing or requiring a person or company to discriminate against a firearm entity. Our general counsels at ABOR and the universities have reviewed this bill, and they're extremely concerned because of its overly broad language. And as written, any action could be considered discrimination, and it impacts not only future contracts, but current contracts as written. So we are recommending a position of oppose on this bill.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions from board members regarding this bill? Regent Schootman?
Thank you, Chair Manson. I think it's important for us to note that we oppose bills often for two reasons. One is that they directly hurt our attempts to educate Arizonans and run the business of our universities. We also should oppose legislation that is poorly crafted and legislation that will lead to a string of, I think, probably lawsuits and a lot of money being spent to try to sort out what the language really means. So I wholeheartedly support opposing this language and this bill.
Thank you, Regent Schootman. Other board members?
Thank you, Chair Manson. So the next bill you're familiar with, this is Senate Bill 1626. This bill establishes the Prevention of Sexual Misconduct on Campus Task Force and an annual base survey regarding sexual misconduct at a state university or community college. It prescribes the task force and institution responsibilities, the information the base survey must collect, and annual reporting requirements. You had previously taken a position of monitor and work with stakeholders to address concerns, knowing that definitions in the bill must be consistent with federal law, as this information is also collected through the Clary Act annually. And since your last meeting, there have been many stakeholder meetings, email exchanges, concerns outlined, and also proposed amendments to the bill as written. And we know all the behind the scenes movement, but because of those deadlines and legislative timelines that I mentioned earlier, the sponsor felt it was necessary to go ahead and push the bill through, knowing we would keep working on it in the House. And he's assured us that he would continue working on it, and we appreciate his willingness to do that. But considering that ABOR leadership and our Title IX experts at our universities have serious concerns with the language as passed out of the Senate, that no changes were made and the unintended consequences of such, we're asking that you take a position of oppose to that language, knowing we will continue to work with the sponsor in the House.
Thank you, Paige. Are there any comments or questions from board members regarding that bill? Regent Penley?
Well, thank you very much, Chair Manson. And thank you, Paige. I believe we should oppose this bill. We have, as three universities, focused directly on compliance with the federal government, even as the rules and approaches have changed. We did so under the Bush administration, under the Obama administration, under the Trump administration, and now under the Biden administration in the time that I've been on this board and just prior to that. So we spend a great deal of money in compliance and assurance that we follow the rules that the feds have set up, the procedures they've set up, et cetera. To suggest that the state should join the federal government in basically adding costs to this particular issue, which I believe this bill does, as well as really adding nothing to what we really need to do to comply with the federal regulations. I agree with Paige, Patterson, Gonzalez that we should oppose this bill. Thank you.
Comments from other board members? Okay, seeing none, I am going to make a motion. That motion is the board oppose House Bill 2278, House Bill 2473, and oppose the language of Senate Bill 1626 as passed out of the Senate and continue to work with stakeholders. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Any abstentions? The motion does carry. This concludes today's special board meeting. I thank you
Chair,
all.
I'm sorry, Chair Manson. We had one more bill that John wanted to provide just situational awareness to you all as the legislative process moves. So I wanted to just summarize if that's all right.
Yes,
Sorry.
thank you. Thank you.
So the bill is 2690. This is just for your information. It establishes the Cyber Risk Insurance Fund and outlines the administration of the fund. And this bill is part of a larger ongoing discussion about cybersecurity insurance for state agencies. I've been told that questions remain about who selects the agencies that would participate in this insurance pool. And because of the nature of the budget discussions and negotiations, the bill may further be discussed in that context before it appears in its final form. Generally, the principles that we wanted to touch on is that we are concerned about being included in a risk pool with the state where university assets are at risk for state agency vulnerabilities. And we want to be able to control the type and extent of coverage. I'm not sure if Director Arnold wants to touch on this further, but we will continue to monitor this legislation and participate in discussions as things move forward. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Paige. Executive Director Arnold, any additions to that?
Just that I think the board should support the state very much in their interest in it and obtaining cybersecurity insurance for themselves. But as you know, the universities went through a process several years ago. It was a very difficult process to obtain insurance for the universities. And the last thing we want to do is put that coverage at risk. Secondarily, I think you're all aware we've had long-standing issues with the state as they have used universities to spread risk related to health insurance to the universities and have used university assets to subsidize the state. We don't want to see that same outcome here. We haven't done an official review, but my guess is that the universities have a lower risk profile when it comes to cybersecurity than some of our state agencies, and would hate to get captured into subsidizing that risk.
That makes sense. Do I see Regent Ridenauer?
Thank you. Can someone kind of give me a status of the bills that deal with the nursing shortage? My wife was down at the Capitol testifying the other day, and I believe it's Senator Bartow may have a bill out, 45 million spread over the community colleges. And I don't have the number of that bill, but what's been introduced and where are we on the nursing shortage bills?
Certainly, Chair Manson, Regent Ridenauer, the bill, there's one bill, 2691. That bill did make it out of the House, and I can look up the bill vote right now, but it is sitting in the Senate, awaiting a hearing, I believe. And, it will likely be assigned to appropriations, and they have extra time to hear their bills. So that bill, let's see here. I can certainly provide you with a status update. It did make it out of the House. On other fronts, the budget negotiations have not started in earnest. And so we expect to participate in those conversations through the governor's office and legislators that are very interested and the universities participating in a solution to the nursing shortage. I can certainly provide you an update though on 2691.
Yeah, I think it would just be helpful for the board to know what the terms of that bill are.
Certainly.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments from board members? Regent Duval?
Yeah, I just wanted to take advantage while we're all together to congratulate our 3 new confirmed regents on their Senate confirmation. Delighted, welcome aboard, and congratulations on finishing that process successfully. And of course, we can't help but note, Bobby, congratulations on the seating and the path. Obviously, it's very exciting, and congratulations to you. Remarkable for a first-year coach.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I will tell you, I've actually been watching them on television, which is a new and different thing. All righty. And any additional comments or questions from board members? At that, I am going to say that this concludes today's special board meeting. I appreciate you all spending your time this morning, and we are adjourned.
Thank you all.